This is the way. Hello there, my name is Ryan Virtuoso and welcome to The Virtue Show. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made the Mandalorian helmet from the Disney Plus TV show The Mandalorian. This file was created by the Broken Nerd 83 on his Thingiverse page. I'll put a link in the description box if you're interested in printing this helmet for yourself. Today I'll be doing something very different from the previous video. I'm going to be explaining step by step on exactly what I did on each step of making this Mandalorian helmet. So right now, this is the way on how I made this look like this. After scaling the Mandalorian helmet, I sliced them into two pieces, a top and bottom piece. I'm printing them here on my JGAURORA A5 and A5s using Hatchbox PLA filaments. The only difference is this bottom left piece where I use Zyltech because I ran out of Hatchbox filaments and it's the only one that I had left. After all the pieces are printed and the supports are cleaned off, I usually tape up one area for perfect alignment before applying super glue in the other area. I tried super gluing without tape and it was just sticky, messy, horrible, and I wouldn't recommend it. Here I'm just applying some Bondo body filler to cover up any of the seam lines from the helmet. This right here was an exciting part of the build because it's my first time using a hand sander in any of the 3D printed props that I've made before. And I gotta admit, this is actually a much faster way to try to smooth out any of the layer lines you have on your props. I still went around with a piece of sandpaper to sand out any areas that I missed with the hand sander. And after all that was done, I hit it with a coat of filler primer. After excessive amounts of sanding, filling, priming, and repeating it, I decided to just cover this entire helmet with glazing spot putty to cover up those layer shifts that probably happened during the print. I don't know what happens, probably my settings, but luckily enough, this helmet didn't really have that much. The spot putty areas were just from some slight layers that you can still see, or cracks made from excessive sanding. Of course I'm going back to the hand sander. This was a much easier way and faster way to cover the entire base of the helmet. I replaced it with a 220 grit sandpaper to make sure I don't create any unnecessary cracks from any rougher grit sandpaper. Right here I'm just going another round with the same 220 grit sandpaper just to go around the areas in where I missed or I couldn't really reach with the hand sander. And of course, here's some filler primer to make it one uniform color. After seeing that it was super smooth, I decided to hit it with a black gloss coat, and then when this was dry, hit it with a nickel antique. This one I decided to do something different and skip the black gloss and went straight for the aluminum metallic finish. You can't really tell from this photo, but the one on the left actually looks closer to what it looks like in The Mandalorian. Although the one on the right looks more like metal, it actually is too bright. So I decided to try and hit it with a nickel coat to try to get it a little bit darker. After ignoring the fact that I'm still wearing a Christmas sweater, you can see that I am rubbing graphite powder all over this helmet. I saw this technique on Punch Props and it actually made this helmet much darker because funny enough, the nickel spray paint made it brighter. After all that was done, I sealed it with a clear coat gloss and it actually helped pop out the texture much better and it looks closer to what it looks like in the show. All I'm missing now is just the visor. I used my Dremel to cut out this visor because unfortunately I don't have any of those big fancy saws. And finally, when all the cleanup was done from the visor, I tacked it down with some hot glue and installed it into the helmet. The only thing available on Amazon was this dark green visor and it looks pretty good and I could see very clearly as you can tell from this photo. Now even though you see green on the inside, on the outside it still looks like a black visor even when you're out in the sun. With the visors being the final pieces, the Beskar Mandalorian helmet is finally finished. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making this Mandalorian helmet. The process of making this entire helmet was so fun that I made 2 of them, as you saw from the video. This one is mine, so I'm going to put it right here, right on top of my Sith Trooper helmet. If you haven't seen that video yet, I recommend you watch it. It's a very fun video to watch as well. The second one is this one, which was supposed to be for my cousin, keyword being was. Unfortunately, when the whole helmet was finished, we finally met so she could wear it for the very first time, and it was just a bit too small for her. She couldn't get it over her head, so I promised her that I would gladly reprint it for her and remake it for her so she'll be able to wear it and wear it around cons or around the house just like the actual Mandalorian helmet. So I have this spare one, which I don't know exactly what to do with it, but I'll figure out something in the near future. We'll see what happens. But the craziest part about this entire build was something that I didn't get to record, and that was figuring out the correct color on the Mandalorian helmet. I had to combine different colors and use different techniques. I did some nickel antique with the aluminum and then graphite, or just a plain black gloss with the graphite. Unfortunately, that black gloss right here and the graphite did not really look exactly how it finished, how I wanted to finish, so I decided not to go that route. But this one right here was actually the closest one, and it's the one that I used. And I just love how the entire Mandalorian helmet turned out. Making this helmet took time and patience is a virtue. Whew. I guess you could call me the Mandalorian. And this is the way.